This is Too Far Enterprises, and what I hold in my hand is a book. It's almost like a cross and garlic to vampires. A book has become something that we regard as useless in our community. And I saw a picture of a man leading his family in reading on a subway. And now that was an example of leadership. But today, we're going to take a look at how do we become the people that we are now. What is said is that this nation, and I'm talking about the whole world because this is how you view yourselves, will be colorblind when whites and all the other colors except for black, which you all come from a foundation of black, will be colorblind when you accept your black blood like you accept your Indian and your European blood and heritage. Understand me. That's when we'll be a nation or a world that's colorblind. Right now, I have a comparison between the conditioning and control techniques that were used on slaves and communist POWs, okay? Both American soldiers held in North Korean prisoner of war camps during the 1950s and enslaved black people were psychologically and physiologically manipulated in parallel ways. The Communist North Korean army and its Chinese consorts used brainwashing on American soldiers, and slavery used conditioning. The larger purpose of these social conditioning systems was to destroy the ability of the subjects to form natural groups and communities and to develop normal relationships, support, protect, and comparative analysis of the brainwashing of their own group. The table that I will be referring to is between North Korean captives and between slaves of this nation. The table compares the similarities between the goals, the principles, rewards, punishments, and resultant behavior changes. The results of these two systems were nearly identical in every respect, but in each instance, the subjects identified with their oppressors and were often willing to return to their former communities to be with their own people. They were unwilling to return to their former communities to be with their own people because of the brainwashing and the conditioning. POWs, they got hospitalized and deprogrammed. No such therapy has ever been offered to Black Americans. Here is a comparison of the conditioning and control techniques. The first group will be the slaves. The second group will be the POWs. Subjects, nearly 15 million African slaves on plantations throughout America versus nearly 7,000 white American soldiers in POW camps in North Korea. The goal, to control a large group of captured slaves and make them hardworking, fearful, dependent, docile, submissive, and loyal labor tools to build wealth for their captors. Succeeded. Goal of the POWs and the Korea brainwashing to control a large group of captured POWs using minimum resources, make them non-combative, dependent, and compliant to be used as propaganda tools. Program, system of dehumanizing and physiological conditioning using elementary principles of physical, emotional, and intellectual deprivation, conducted by slave masters with the equivalent of 3rd to 4th grade education. Program for POWs, a system of re-education and indoctrination using fundamental principles of psychology in a perverted way, conducted by communists with master's degrees in the social services. The procedure for slaves transported into hostile lands, made a minority and totally dependent, totally deprived of family, hope, and basic necessities, rewarded for identifying with the slave master. POWs transported into North Korea, isolated from support systems, subject to various forms of deprivation and with rewards and punishments, divided by military rank. Reaction of slaves, internalized white values and fear of oppressors, eroded group self-interest and abandonment of code of conduct, displayed self-hate, exhibited difficulty trusting and cooperating with other blacks. POWs acquiesced and colluded with captors, compromised on principles, became individualistic, selfish, and withdrawn, abandoned code of conduct, unable to organize and trust, built mental prisons within their own minds. Success rate of slaves. After 360 years, 36 million descendants of slaves have the shortest life expectancy, low self-esteem, remain divided and non-competitive. They remain fearful and continue to seek white approval and rewards that come with being sambos and sellouts. Now, success rate of POWs. Over 2,000 of the original 7,000 POWs survived. Most POW camps had no guards or fences, yet not one American POW escaped in an organized attempt. Survivors remained withdrawn. POWs became turncoats against their own country. As you can see, that's a hell of a parallel. Simply put, brainwashing was an intensive program of dehumanization, physical degradation, re-education, and indoctrination.